License, please. Have a good night, sir. We need you to step out of the car, please, sir.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. Mm, that is something else, to say the least. I don't know what to say more than that. We know the deal, right? And now it's in a political ad. Well, yesterday, testimony began in the historic hush money trial of the 4 times indicted, twice impeached former president. We'll bring you the latest there, including David Pecker, the first witness, National Enquirer. It's an interesting story. I think I'm not think I will relay a personal story about David Pecker, the boss of the National Enquirer. Also, Alabama MAGA legislators want state workers to choose which holiday they'd like to receive a day off for, either Juneteenth or Confederate President Jefferson Davis's birthday. And how about presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Continually sharing inaccurate stats that a vast majority of women getting abortions are black, suggesting that black women are systemically coerced or systematically coerced into getting abortions. When a reporter asked about it, the campaign acknowledged that he quote unquote misspoke. Hmm, interesting stuff. And I told y'all there was something about that Taylor Swift that never sat too well with me, and y'all laughed. Some of y'all laughed. Well, who's laughing now? The cat's out of the proverbial bag with this chick. Her new album, in which she proclaims she wants to go back to the 1830s. Hmm. And Mary J. Blige and a tribe called Quest are among the 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. We talk about that accomplishment this morning. But first up, first up, the garden shook again last night like an earthquake. How about them Knicks, Power 96? How about that? Have you seen it ended? And then the great thing about the ending of last night's game, Knicks down, looks like it was over, down 5. And then Jalen Brunson, who's been struggling not just the whole game, but the whole series so far, drops in a 3. It bounced in for him, cut the lead to 2. And then the inbound pass, Jalen Brunson, and of course, Josh Allhart stole the inbound pass, got it out to my man DiVincenzo, who actually missed that first 3. Hartenstein comes in for the rebound, sends it back out by way of OG, and Dante drains the game winner. Garden shook, and all of the legends, the Nick legends, right there under the basket. This what made it so great. John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, and my man Carmelo Anthony jumping onto the floor like amazing stuff. The garden shaking. You had Chris Rock and Ben Stiller jumping up and down, going crazy. John McEnroe. That's the garden, folks. That is the garden. Knicks up 2-0 now on the Sixers. And there is that ensuing game ending, game winning play or series of plays there. And here's the inbound pass. Unbelievable. Unbelievable victory at the Garden. Looking forward to tonight at the Garden, where the Rangers look to go up 2-0 on the Washington Capitals. But it's the place to be. Y'all gotta come to the Garden. Come to the Garden. It's the place to be. There's no other place like it. No other place in sports like it. There's Carmelo. Beautiful night. And Power 96. How about one lucky game, or did some pay the 76 to throw the game? No, they up 2-0, Power 96, 2-0. And that was despite Joel Embiid and Mr. Maxey playing like superstars, and Jalen Brunson playing like a mere mortal. And the Knicks were still able to win. Hey, something special going on, Power 96. I'll see you at the parade. He says, on a serious note, I watch a lot of black media, and he does. I notice. He says some black owned, and of course, let it be known. He says, was the only show to talk about what Stephen A. Smith. Trust me, I call those other shows out. Read his comment. I won't use the word he. Well, Roland Martin went a little bit in on him. That's his boy. I know he didn't want to hurt him too much. Roland held back just a little bit. He saved a lot of his Roland-esque stuff for Sean Hannity. But he did as he put on his Twitter or X, deconstruct Stephen A. and his poor take on Donald Trump. I mean, and saying it was a poor taste, poor take, is just being kind. It's being kind. But we talked about that yesterday. And quickly, speaking of Trump, he orchestrated, according to New York prosecutors, this was the opening statement yesterday. Donald Trump orchestrated a criminal plot to corrupt the 2016 presidential election and then tried to cover it up by paying off one way by paying off a porn star that he had allegedly had an affair with. In court, Trump was filming and shook his head as he was accused of lying over and over and over again to conceal this alleged scheme to buy the silence of Stormy Daniels with an illegal $130,000 payment. And this kills me that folks say, "Oh, this case makes no sense." Stephen A. Smith, elite, allegedly used campaign funds. And you know who should be upset about that? Those who contributed to the campaign. His supporters should be upset about that. $130,000 to buy her silence. But that wasn't it. That was not it. They detail how Trump, aided by his allies, including the National Enquirer, used a catch and kill scheme to buy the rights to damaging stories about his private life and then not publish them, and falsifying business records to make the payments. See, all of this shady, illegal, not just shady, illegal stuff, if it's true, if it's true, um, that stuff is just, it's absolutely ludicrous that to say that this guy should not be prosecuted, Stephen A. Smith. If all of this, and that's what they have trials for. It's a search for the truth. And people say he's being, Stephen A. Smith used the word persecuted. Are you kidding me? Um, if anybody gets a chance, if you're interested, and more about this catch and kill stuff with the National Enquirer. Lachlan Cartwright, who used to be an editor at the National Enquirer, now he works for the Wall Street Journal, wrote a very, very eye-opening, interesting first-person account of the Trump situation and his situation at the Enquirer with Dylan Howard. He talked about Dylan Howard, who was the Radar Online's editor. They are the same family, Radar Online and National Enquirer. And but in it, he talked about all of this stuff with Trump and how David Pecker, the boss of the Enquirer, the boss of American media, um, had them find these stories about Trump, or if somebody called in with a tip or a story about Trump, including the doorman at his one of his buildings who had claiming that Trump had fathered a child out of wedlock. And so David Pecker sent them to catch and kill that story, meaning go get the story before he goes to the mainstream media, offer this guy a boatload of money for his story, sign an agreement that he can't tell the story to anybody else, pay him, and never run the story. That is catch and kill. And um, there's inside the notorious catch and kill campaign that now stands at the heart of the former president's legal trial. That was Lachlan Carter. I now happen to know Lachlan, and when I saw the story, he and I texted each other. Lachlan is a guy from he's a guy from Australia, and he this guy contemplated suicide because of what was going on at the Enquirer, what he was facing he said he was warned um, about it, and before he took the job, and of course the lure of the money um, was too much. Well, he couldn't believe what they were going to pay him, and so he took it. But then he just lost all types of self respect as a journalist, and it was just a sad thing. But so the Enquirer and David Pecker, one of the things I'll never forget, Michael Jackson had died, and I was speaking with Michael's sister and her husband, and they were telling me this story that came out in the National Enquirer. I didn't know about the story, and it was about Michael's sister beating up Michael's nanny, the woman that was taking care of his kids. And so I was just learning about this story from them, and it was already published. Well, I get a call later on. Michael's family wants to sue the National Enquirer, and what they wanted was who the source of who gave the story. Now, then I get a call from Michael's sister and says, "They said you gave the story." Me? I was like, "You the one who told me." Well, what turns out happening, I called, spoke to Dylan Howard, spoke to Lachlan, and they were like, "You need to speak to David Pecker." So I got through to David Pecker. "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." A day later, a FedEx comes with a check for $3,000. And I'm like, "What is this for?" Well, it was to try and buy my silence, that it was not me who provided that story. My wife and I are like, "No, don't touch that check. Send it back." They was not going to blame me for that. I had no idea what was going on there at the Jackson compound at the time anyway. So interesting, that the Enquirer, David Pecker, sends me this check. So this is what they're talking about in the Trump trial. This catch and kill stuff, which they'd pay all this money out, and they had an endless bank account to pay. And David Pecker says at the trial yesterday he had final say on the celebrity side. That he determined who was going to get what. Right. Mike V says, "What could $3,000 have bought you back then? You can't even pay rent in New York with that." But that wasn't even. It could have been 30,000. It could have been 30,000 um, dollars. It could have been 300,000. I wasn't me. It just wasn't me. So, nonetheless, all that to say that this stuff, I totally understand what's going on here with the Trump trial, but this part of it anyway, with David Pecker being called um, as the first witness, because it established the movement of money and potentially even money uh, laundering. So um, when people say that he should not be facing trial, that this is politically motivated, you're absolutely ignoring all of the evidence. And and you're just going along with you're going with the MAGA crowd by saying um, that he shouldn't be prosecuted. So it's just it's it's it, it's insane. It's insane. So I don't want to keep going back at Stephen A. Smith, but he's the latest to really speak about that and to really go in with the nonsense. So unbelievable, unbelievable. Well, nonetheless, they will resume today at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So anyway, the former president is on trial officially. So we'll see how this plays out. But there is it's not just Stormy Daniels as a uh, person who he allegedly had affair with that is expected to testify. But this Playboy model Karen McDougal, who he also allegedly had affair with, is going to testify, or we think is going to testify as well. As far as Dylan Howard is concerned, David Pecker testified that he hadn't spoken with him, but he knows that he's ill. He's back in uh, Australia or somewhere, and he can't make the trial. Uh, but nonetheless, Trump continues to violate the gag order apparently, and so they're going to have another discussion about the gag order this morning, and that's another break, right? That's another thing. Oh, he's They're doing this. You can't continually, you or I can't continually violate a judge's order without any type of repercussions. But this guy continues to do so. But this is Angela Conley says, I would like to see Barron's birth certificate. But this is the privilege we keep talking about. And this is the thing that aggravates uh, when you hear someone like a Stephen A. Smith say what he said. Then you see what's going on down in Alabama. Yesterday we talked about Mississippi. Today, a bill introduced in the Alabama legislature will revise the state's holiday calendar by adding Juneteenth as a recognized state holiday. You say, okay, what? Nothing wrong with that. Well, the proposed legislation, which is known as HB 367, includes that the state offices will no longer close on Confederate President Jefferson Davis's birthday. Well, wait a minute, they said. We can't do that. We down here in Dixie. We down here in the heart of the Confederacy. We have to celebrate the Confederate president's birthday. So the bill was amended to which will allow state employees to choose. You can have off either Juneteenth or Jefferson Davis's birthday. Now they also have a holiday down there in Alabama observing the birth date of Confederate General Robert E. Lee's birthday. MAGA rep from Alabama, Chris Sales, who comes out of the Greenville area, he proposed and said that the government employees, as a compromise, let them decide whether to take off the first Monday in June for Jefferson Davis's birthday or June 19th for Juneteenth. He says he just doesn't want to add another holiday to the existing 13 state holidays that they already have. Now, the national average for state holidays, by the way, is 17. So uh, it's a crazy excuse. And right, Mike V says they celebrate MLK Day. Make it make sense. They also have a Rosa Parks Day down there. It's not a state holiday, but they observe it. But here's the thing too. There's a museum that is dedicated to the Confederacy down there in Alabama, and the state gives that museum $100,000 a month. I mean, a year, not a month. I'm sorry, I misspoke. $100,000 a year. It's a, I know we got papers and we got folks in Alabama. I had family in Alabama at one point. I just can't ever fathom on this side of on this in this world. I can't fathom living in Alabama. I mean, I know Dawn loves her Mississippi, but I can't fathom that either. And Power 96 reminds us that on Dr. King's birthday in Montgomery, they have an antebellum ball that celebrates Robert E. Lee. He says he knows that because he crashed it 3 years in a row. He was kicked out every year, but he says it was worth it. So yesterday, Joni King said they closed yesterday for the Confederate Memorial Day. But this is the thing. So when they talk about black folks and the MAGA folks, you have to be the most misguided, misinformed, self-hating black person to support this MAGA stuff. You really do. You absolutely do. And so with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the cat, again, I'm going to use that term again later, but the cat's out of the bag. His family knows it. His family's come out and endorsed Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But not only that, his family has been calling him out for a few years now. Um, and we've seen him meeting with like Roger Stone and MAGA folks. And then there's talk that he might be vying to be Trump's vice president. Now, he hasn't said that, but people say read the tea leaves. But now he's even going even more MAGA on us. He shared repeatedly on a number of occasions inaccurate statistics stating unequivocally that a vast majority of women who get abortions are Black. He suggests that Black women are systematically coerced into getting abortions. What does that say about Black people? So is he saying that the husbands, the dads, or the parents are coercing Black women into getting abortions? I mean, but what made it even worse, now he said this, he has repeated this a number of times, and then finally, a Washington Post reporter asked his campaign about it, and they simply said, "Oh, he misspoke. You misspoke. You misspeak perhaps one time." Yeah, Mike V, the same RFK who says he wants to help Black men fight child support. He has said that he believes the decision to seek an abortion should be left to women and their doctors, but he has held just one campaign event focused on abortion, an October visit to an Atlanta facility founded by Angela Stanton King, an anti-abortion and criminal justice reform activist and Trump supporter, whom Trump pardoned for her role in a car theft ring. See, these MAGA folks, they all got history with law enforcement and the criminal justice system. In the months that followed, Kennedy's appearance at Stanton King's facility, um, and that facility, by the way, its goal is to persuade women to carry their pregnancies to term. Um, he, Kennedy, repeated her false and inflammatory claims that abortion providers systematically target Black women. An inaccurate claim that Black women are coerced. He made those claims at least 3 times publicly. In the virtual discussion with Stanton King 2 months ago, Kennedy repeated it. And here's the thing. According to multiple medical research studies, more than 6 in 10 abortion clinics were located in predominantly white neighborhoods, and about 1 in 10 clinics were in predominantly Black neighborhoods. Thus, 6 in 10 in white neighborhoods. Thus, you start to get the picture of why these folks, these MAGA folks, so-called conservatives, are going after. They went after Roe v. Wade. They're wanting to prosecute women now for um, abortion. It's again, it's a fundamental thing, a fear, because all of the data says by 2042 or 2040 or whatever, which many of them won't even live to see, that this country will be predominantly people of color. And and so they gotta try and figure out how to stem the tide here. Austin says it's been years since RFK Jr. has even been in the vicinity of having a half ounce of good sense. Wow, Austin for the win. Standing on business. That's this see, it's this exploitation of ignorant black folk that he seems to be seems to have embraced along with Donald Trump. And so then you have these guys who have absolutely no clue, no shame that will allow themselves to be used by folks like that. No shame whatsoever. Yep. And Mike V says Trump's strategy was to bring more Swedish and Norwegian folks over to fill the void. Now I have Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, David Youngblood. Now I got to tell you something. And I'm going to bask in this little bit of a glow, just as much as I basked in the glow of the Knicks winning. I told y'all folks, and where's Aunt Pam this morning? Austin, where's Aunt Pam this morning? Let's hunt out Aunt Pam because she's one of them too who told me to leave Taylor Swift alone. I think Dr. Nicole said it too. Leave Taylor. Well, what's with Taylor Swift? I knew it was something. You know how you have that gut feeling about somebody? You have that I just don't really dig the person. And say, well, why? And it's a lot of whys. You just can't really put your finger on the one thing that they will understand. My wife does that a lot too. Why? I'm like, okay, I explained the best I can. And this is where I come. This is where I just leave it at. That's the best I can do at explaining. Because y'all, I write. So let me write why. As opposed to saying, well, no, we're right here. My wife says, no, we're right here. You don't need to write nothing. But I told y'all about Taylor Swift. I warned y'all about Taylor Swift. And see, Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift because of Beyonce. Oh, what does Beyonce have to do with her career? They say. They've made her bigger than what she is. It's like Caitlin Clark. They're making her bigger than what she is because of Angel Reese and others. I said what I said. Taylor Swift, despite all the flavor of love, literally, Flavor Flav loves some Taylor Swift. She has been brutally trolled online for her lyric about wanting to go back to the 1830s. Now, she says in her lyrics that she wants to go back to the 1830s, but without all the racists. Okay. It was like, oh, I better throw that in there without all the racists. She released her anticipated album, The Tortured Poets Department, and social media and listeners instantly began combing the lyrics to find references to her ex-boyfriends. She's got more ex-boyfriends than a pimp got women. Um, this goodness. But she was also mocked for her album's track, I Hate It Here. She says, this is what she sings. She says, my friends used to play a game where we would pick a decade we wish we could live in instead of this. I'd say the 1830s, but without all the racists and getting married off for the highest bid. See, that before I even get into the crux of it, getting married off for the highest bid. And I understand what she was saying here. But my goodness, I guess all her boyfriends been lowballing her. She hasn't had the bid that she wanted. But one user on X or Twitter argued that it was, quote, pretty astonishing to stipulate that she wants to live in the 1830s, except without the races, and not mention slavery. So slavery still exists, but everyone's chill about it. He says, this person says, I know I can't shut up about Taylor Swift, but of all the time periods, why the 1830s? Somebody else wrote, the most notable event from the time period is the Trail of Tears. Like I cannot wrap my head around it. Is this another one of her dumbness, her dumb codes? Somebody else says, she said, without all the racism, like it was rain or something. One, one other person responded incredulously, like, you don't have the 1830s without the racism? It's integral, they say. Yes, and my wife says the suppression of women. And another one wrote, to a certain extent, I get it. Like things are extremely simple. But 1830s America, where, and they put this in all caps, where slavery was still very legal. What's great about that? What's great, as Shanae says, what women being oppressed? What's great about that? See, that plays into what they're doing now with the Roe v. Wade and all of that stuff. And somebody else said 1830s without racism is like a book with no pages. And then they say, why would she pick 1830s then? What about the 1830s speaks to Taylor Swift specifically? Is she a big fan of Andrew Jackson? I told y'all. I told y'all. Oh, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Leave Taylor Swift alone. Now maybe she'll leave everybody else alone. See, the truth comes out one way or the other. Austin says, "Oh, Pam, I tried to stop him." Power 96, I'm right there with you. He says, I still haven't listened to one Taylor Swift song. Hopefully it goes back to 1830 BC. She can live in a cave. I mean, come on. The 1830s were 3 decades before the Civil War. And slavery was very much alive in the United States. I mean, come on. As some of the critics of the record say that it minimizes the struggles of the time, even with her putting that caveat without all the races. And somebody else wrote, I mentioned Taylor Swift once for a joke, and now I'm getting news about her, and I gotta say, pretty astonishing to stipulate that she wants to live in the 1830s, except without the races, and not mention slavery. So slavery still exists, but everyone's chill about it. That's Taylor Swift, folks. So all that I say, put your cowboy hats on, jump on your horse, and go and celebrate Beyonce. And I'm not even a Beyonce fan. I mean, look, let's just get to the root of it. Now maybe Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will spend their final days together. Yeah, I said that, final days together, because eventually, like all of her relationships, it ends and she makes a song about it. And she makes a song about it. So I'm gonna I will that'll be the one song of hers I will ever listen to is after her breakup with Travis. Yeah, see how many references to the Kansas City Chiefs she makes. Get out of my face, Taylor Swift. Keep it moving. Let's get to some real stuff. Mary J. Blige and A Tribe Called Quest are among the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2024. Yep. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. The Rock and Roll Hall has announced one of its R&B. I mean, listen, Mary J. Blige, again, I've never been a big fan of Mary J. Blige either. I mean, she is who she is. Can't take it away from her. She's done a lot, and people say she's the queen of R&B. Some people say that. Whatever you call her, you can call her a rock and roll Hall of Famer now, and that goes for Q-Tip and the boys, a tribe called Quest. They're gonna join. Uh, a roster that includes Kool and the Gang, Foreigner, the Dave Matthews Band, Peter Frampton, and Ozzy Osbourne, and my girl Cher, going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this coming fall during the induction ceremony. Now, Cher is, you know, I like Cher. I've always liked Cher. Mike B says my black card is now in question. Why? Oh, because of Mary? I'm just not into Mary. I've never. I mean, she's made some good music. See, I don't like Taylor Swift, so I will never say she made good music. I don't even know her music. But Mary, I didn't say I didn't like her. I'm just not a big fan. Mary's in concert next door. I'm not rushing to see her. I'm not dissuading anybody from seeing her either. There are some I say, don't go, don't waste your money. Mary has a lot of hits, so I don't think it'd be a waste of your money. But I like Cher. One thing I never liked, and I guess as I grew up, and this is no this is not to shame anybody, no testament about somebody's build or anything like that, but a skinny woman. I mean, granddaddy and the uncles and all the older men in the family used to say, nothing likes a bone but a dog. And I never liked this, but Cher was so skinny when she was with Sonny and doing the Sonny and Cher show or whatever. But there was something about Cher that I always liked. I always found to be pretty inviting. Of course, she gets to be 70 something years old, and then she starts messing with a 30-year-old a black dude. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on, Cher? Ozzy Osbourne is going in. I like rock music, but I've never gotten into Ozzy. I mean that reality show that he used to have was absolutely crazy. Power 96 says you tripping. Mary J is the bomb, singing and her body's a 10. He said he slides in her DM once a month. No, Mary looks good. Mary looks good. Can't take it away from her. Oh, they call her auntie. Shoot, she has earned that. And she's kept herself together. I like what she said recently, when the whole Diddy stuff broke or whatever. She and she it wasn't about Diddy. At least we don't know who it was about. And that's the thing about it. She was not pinpointing, but she talked about how in her younger years, people were able to essentially take advantage of her and she fell for things that today she wouldn't. And that's another reason why she's earned that moniker, that title of auntie, right? Because those are the ones you think about when you can a young woman, particularly a young black woman coming up in that business. Use your resources. And Mary J. Blige would be an amazing resource to kind of help guide these young upcoming stars in that business. And so if one of my daughters and they all extremely talented when it comes to a lot of things, but musically inclined, they take after their mom. If they were going into to singing or show business, singing or acting, Mary J would be one person for them I would seek out because she would know how to guide them. She would know what type of advice to give them. But David says, "Go for it, Cher." Yeah, Cher is one of the most talented, and I will fight on this hill all the time. One of the most talented people in popular culture ever, ever. The talent in Cher, it reminds me a lot of Michael Jackson's talent, and no, she didn't make records like him or whatever. It's just that they were so effortless in their talent. People try to imitate Michael, and you could tell everybody's an imitation. His nephew is playing him in the movie about his life, which comes out next year, and even his nephew when he does the moves. I mean, you can't expect everybody to be as smooth, but you could see the work that is put into it, and Chris Brown, Usher, you see the extra effort it takes for them to be who they are. Michael was like smooth, like butter. That Cher as well. Greer says she made a point of exposing her daughter to black women celebrities in particular when she was very young. Exactly, exactly. And and Mary J would be one of them. She would be one of them. And these are, I'm not going to speak for Greer, but these are the type of people that Greer used to be around a lot anyway. Um, she did a lot for these folks' career. Y'all don't know. Greer's got a lot of stuff going on. Y'all don't know. And half the stuff I still don't know, probably will never know. Um, Mike V says, "Careful, you're on record now. You may not get invited to the cookout this time." Because the Cher got a black boyfriend. She got a black boyfriend. Shoot, young dude. Shoot, black folks know Cher. Cher ain't nothing to listen. I'm into black women. I've always been into black women. No slight against my white sisters, but Cher's probably the only one that I could think of. I mean, I've come across so many folks, but she's probably the only one that, years ago before I met my wife, and if she was like, if the age barrier wasn't such, I'd have shot my shot for sure. That's for sure. And brought her to the cookout, Mike. And I bet it wouldn't have been no raisins in her potato salad. Greer, Greer says Cher and De Niro always had a biscuit for the chitlin pot. Oh, wow. Greer's acting up backstage there, y'all. She's acting up. But congratulations, though, to Mary J. Blige, to a Tribe Called Quest. Cool in the Gang as well. We can't leave them out. Um, yes, Power 96. Cher needs to eat some greens and neck bones. He says my leg is bigger than her body. Yeah, back in the day, he say, boy, you need some potatoes. In her case, girl, you need to eat some potatoes. It's too late. Cher is who she is. Austin is warning me to tread slowly. He says my sister Shanae is watching. Shoo, I'll tell you. He said Barrington and Austin will roast you. Listen, I ain't worried about Barrington and Austin. Austin over there talking junk anyway. He's talking junk. But Mary J. Blige. I want to get back to Mary J. Blige before we close out because she listen. I will give her props. You got to give her props, whether you give it to her or not. Um, she has earned it. She from the Bronx, sh long, long ago cemented her place in music history. Yeah, she's a global superstar. Simple as that. 8 multi-platinum albums, 9 Grammy awards, 2 Academy Award nominations, a SAG nomination. And remember, Mary J entered the scene at 18 years old when Andre Harrell signed her to Uptown Records back in 1989. And she did. She had this unique blend. Who's on stage with her right oh, no. Did you do that to me? See, was that Taylor Swift? Oh my gosh. You gotta spoil things now, Greer. But she, introduced a blend of, hip hop, soul, and really as raw and honest of lyrics that you will hear. Just as honest as Young Thug's lyrics. I mean, she drew her inspiration from, like, Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Gladys Knight. And we all remember, if you look, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Mary's, but we all, if you're a fan, you know what's the 411. You know, you remind me. You know real love. Then of course, a tribe called I focused I wrote a story about this, and so and I'm talking about these two in particular because Mary J and the tribe called Quest, because I focused on them two. And not to neglect in any way, Kool and the Gang and their great accomplishments. I mean, Kool and the Gang had us dancing and still has us dancing for decades. But I just find it amazing that Mary J has come so far, and a tribe called Quest has come so far. A tribe called Quest was formed, of course, in 1985 in my hometown, Queens, New York. In fact, St. Albans, right around the corner from where I went to school, Andrew Jackson. They, of course, Q-Tip, Fife Dog, Ali, and Jerobi, they shaped a whole genre. They were innovative. They had an innovative sound, socially conscious lyrics. I mean, look, who can I kick it? Check the rhyme. What's the scenario? Of course, Fife Dog died in 2016, and a year later they received the 2017 Brit Awards for International Group, and then they officially disbanded. But they will come together, hopefully, on October 19th at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland for the induction ceremony. Yes, Mike B going back as well. He says, Father MC with Mary J. If you do for me, I'll do for you. Man, y'all taking it back. Absolutely, Mike. That was the jam. See, when you start talking about it, turns out I kind of do like Mary, don't I? I guess I can't bring Cher to that cookout. I have to stick with Mary J then. I'll have to take Mary J to the cookout. You've convinced me, Mike V. You've convinced me. You have definitely convinced me. But congratulations to the whole crew, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And what's beautiful this year is they got rid of that John Warner guy, who was the head of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame un- until he revealed his true self last year, and they got rid of him. So congratulations to all of them. Foreigner, they still want to know what love is, don't they? The Dave Matthews Band, Peter Frampton, Ozzy, and of course, as we said, Cool in the Game, Mary J. Blige, and a tribe called Quest. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, October the 19th. It'll be broadcast over ABC's affiliates, ABC Television, Disney Plus, and other ABC affiliates. As Power 96 says, his 3 white friends listen to Mary J. This guy got 3 white friends. He's said that a lot. So he's got 3 white friends. Good for you. You need to add to that list. Get some allies going here. But thanks for watching. Let it be known. We'll see you tomorrow.
Like Mr. All of that, but now you wanna come to me for some chit chat? I don't have no time for no wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Gas me up, get me drunk, and hit the skins and scram. The same old game you ran last week on Pam. I'm not having it. No, I'm not having that. You gotta do a lot more, and that's just how it be. I'm Mary Blige, and you just ain't running up at me. I need a man who's looking out for some security. So come